Hi everyone, so today I thought it'd be kind of fun if I took you through a couple pages in my sketchbook here. This is something I post all the time on Substack. I like to go through the sketches I did in a week and I just talk about them and share with everybody. So if you'd rather read something like that or look at other sketches, you can go over to my Substack and see that. Everything I post on there is free. I know sometimes people have paid accounts over there, but I like to keep all the content over there for free. But today I thought it'd be kind of fun to update you guys here on YouTube on some of the other sketches I've been doing because I think these videos are kind of fun. And I can walk you through just a couple pages that I've done over the past couple of weeks. This is the sketchbook I have. It's just a plain white one. It's from the company Talons. Art Creations, and these are little sketchbooks. I mean, I'm pretty zoomed in here, but you can see it compared to my hand. I think it's about 4.5 inches by 4.5 inches, and what I really like about these sketchbooks is that the paper is smooth. It's not a watercolor sketchbook, but it's like durable enough so I can do pen, I can do, you can see I sometimes do like sequins and things, I can do watercolors, and I haven't had a problem with it wading through, tearing, anything like that. Like, it's one of my favorite sketchbooks I think I've ever tried. I also really like that it's small because that means I can take it everywhere. It means I don't have to be overwhelmed by a really big page, and that I can just do these itty bitty little drawings that really don't take me too long, and I can get lots of ideas still crammed in there. I mean, you can see I don't like to waste the space in my sketchbook. That's really just a personal preference, like aesthetically. I like it, seeing it full of all these other little things, and it's kind of a little challenge for me when I'm sketching to try and fit things in every little corner that I can. So I started this sketchbook, let's see, back in March 23rd of this year, and I've gotten a decent chunk drawn so far. That's actually the real first page. This is like where I'm at right now. And I'd say I probably, when I have the right amount of time, I probably can fill 2.5 spreads like this, maybe 1.5 throughout the week. I try and make it a goal to sketch every single day. Lately, I've found that a bit hard just because I've been doing a couple different things with my art. But generally, I do try and sketch every day, just even something little to keep like my ideas flowing and to, you know, not let myself get lazy and all that. Like, I think sometimes doing art every day can help people it can burn people out, and for other people it helps keep them from being burnt out, and for me it helps me keep from being burnt out because I feel like I'm always trying to find something new to draw. So I think what I'll do is I'll just kind of start on one page, talk about a couple of the drawings, point out things I liked, didn't like, and we can just kind of go through that throughout the page, or throughout the book. Again, I think I have about 4 or 5 pages to share here. So we'll see what we get through. If you like this, please let me know. These kinds of videos I think are really fun to watch, and so if you like to watch them, I'll definitely be more than happy to do more. Like I said, I'm always sketching, so plenty of things to see there. So we'll start with this page. I did this a few weeks ago, and you might recognize this girl. I did a YouTube video on painting a more final version of her. I actually like the sketch more. There's something about just the, I don't know, like the simplicity, the size. I think the color blend is really pretty, and what I really like about her are those sequins. I get these glitters from Hobby Lobby, and I like to use them in my sketchbook just because I think it's fun. They get me excited. I love glitter. You can even see the very worn down glitter nail polish I have on. And I just think they give these butterfly girls that I sometimes draw that little bit of magic that I think is super cute. On this page, I also really have been enjoying doing these kind of medieval princess type girls. I think that the hats are so fun, and I think drawing like draped fabric can be a real fun thing to draw too. I don't draw like super detailed things like that, but getting the ruffles right, I think, has a certain tingle to it that I really like. Overall, when I want to fill in little bits and pieces, or when I don't know what to draw, I draw a lot of bugs. So like snails and beetles and things like that, lots of stars. Even these funky little swirly doodly things I started doing lately. And I think it's kind of good to have something that you can lean on when you want to draw but you don't know what to draw, or when you need to warm up your hands before you start drawing. Like for me, it's these girls, it's bugs, stars, things like that I know I can, if I don't have any ideas, I can draw one of those, and then as I'm drawing, I start to think of other things that I can draw. I've also been drawing a lot of dogs lately, because I've never been happy with how I draw dogs. They always look either like too realistic, or they don't have a personality, and it just never seems to fit with my characters. They look like they belong in two different worlds. And so lately I've been really trying to put the practice into drawing dogs, and I actually really like this guy. I'll show you actually some of the first ones I did back here. Let's see. Oh, did you see this video? Yeah, that one I struggled with. Yeah, but you can see I love doing the watercolors with them. And I think when I pair them with my characters, they look like they kind of belong together. Like they don't look too anthropomorphic, but they don't look too realistic either. So that's been a real fun thing for me to practice lately. The only thing that's hard with dogs is getting them to have textured hair like you saw in those last ones. I always draw them with smooth hair. So this was me trying to give it a little bit more of a wavy, long-haired look. Then we'll hop over to this page. So I've got more bugs and frogs and snails too. What's fun about the snails is the glitter glue I have on there. The glitter glue that I used, it must be water-based, because sometimes it will pick up the watercolor underneath. That's what all these illustrations are filled in with, is watercolors. And I don't know if I said this, but I do link everything I use down below. I also have a video going through everything I use for my sketchbook. But with the glitter glue, you have to use it sparingly. You have to be careful. But when I do use it, I really like it just because it gives it a fun texture. And like I said, I just love glitter. So having it in my sketchbook, I find to be kind of inspirational. And then I like this little mermaid here. This is from Mermaid. If you don't know what Mermaid is, it's kind of a drawing challenge thing. I don't actually know how big of a deal it is. I used to watch Drawing with Waffles all the time, and who actually started posting again, which is really cool. If you don't know her channel, go check it out, because she does lots of cool character design and illustration work. But in May, you're just kind of supposed to draw a mermaid every day, and there's different prompts. I definitely don't do it every day, but I think it's fun just during May to kind of have fun with mermaids and all of that. I only recently started drawing these girl characters in this style a few months ago. It's June as I'm filming this, and it was February that I started working on characters like this. And I think they translate really well to mermaids, since they're so long and they have this kind of ethereal, whimsical, fairy type look. And so having them in this really liquid, bendy type of motion too, I find to be super fun. So we'll flip to the next page here. So here we have those medieval girls that I had drawn earlier, fleshed out into more of characters. And I was playing around with just different pens too. And I talked about in one of my recent videos how I struggle a bit with the pens I have right now, but they're okay. This is with the Micron PN, and this is actually one of my favorite characters that I've drawn in a while. I just love her colors, and we got the stars, and I have a little, not a real story for her, but you know the story, The Princess and the Pea? When I was drawing her, I thought it'd be cute if she was the princess who was the pea, and so that's why she's green, and I don't know where that story goes, but I think it's cute, and I always like to come up with little types of stories for some of my characters as I'm drawing them. And I like this one too. I imagined her to be the princess, and she's like, not the maid, but her like mentor or her teacher or something, like her older, wiser female kind of a person she looks up to. I don't know what that word is, but I feel like they're always in fairy tales. Like there's this older, wiser lady who like helps and teaches the younger princess. If you know that word, please leave it down below, because I'm just now realizing I don't know what that's called. But we've got more mermaids, more dogs. I do love adding this little ascot to the dog. He looks so sophisticated, doesn't he? He's kind of like a little greyhound whippet type of dog. And I'll come up closer just so you can see some of those smaller drawings in more detail. Again, they're by no means perfect. But they do definitely help me build my illustrations, help me build my stories, and you know, just get some creative ideas out there just for fun. I mean, part of why I want to be an artist is because art is so fun to me. And so, of course, I want to enjoy it while I'm doing it. In this page here, what was fun about this page is that I did these paintings, or these little sketch paintings, in my car. It was a really drizzly, cold, rainy Friday morning a couple weeks ago, and so I woke up early, got in my car, and went to a lookout point and decided to just draw my car. And I was there for like 3 hours, and it was so much fun. I haven't done it since, but I'd really like to do it again, just because it was cozy and nice. And I get kind of burnt out or just tired of being in my house drawing all the time and doing my art there. And the library by my house doesn't open till like 10, and I'm definitely a morning person. And so getting out of my house and going outside to draw was so nice. In my car, it was great because I didn't have to be cold, I didn't have to worry about the wind, I didn't have to worry about being kidnapped. So that was really nice. And again, I would really like to try that out again. So we'll see if I get to that anytime soon. But I just have these little girls here. This is inspired by another piece of art that I made. I do these little characters that I call poppies, and they're 3D. They're made out of wood and clay. I'll throw up a picture so you can see what those look like. But they're like a little peg doll type of thing. And I wondered what it would look like if I drew that in my illustration style, which is kind of different from my sculpting style. And so she's got her little olive hat, because that's one of my favorite types of poppies to make. And then this butterfly here was inspired by a book that I had gotten from the library. It was called like Smithsonian's Interesting Insects or something kind of like that. And it is the most beautiful bugs I have ever seen. I don't actually have the book on me right now. Like I said, it was a library book, so I don't know exactly what it was called, but it was these beautiful, weird-looking bugs. They had so many bright colors, so many interesting shapes, and kind of like I said earlier, bugs are something that I like to draw, and so I got that as a bit of inspiration to get the gears turning, and it had the most beautiful colors, too. This doesn't even do it justice for how vibrant and colorful this, I don't even know if it was a butterfly, but how beautiful this bug was. And then apparently I was feeling inspired by butterflies, because then I did this girl here who has kind of a butterfly wing inspired dress. And then, you know, there's some silly things like her. She's kind of hilarious. I think she's a little awkward looking. Her head's definitely too big. And she's just got this wide stance that I think is funny. This dog, I thought, was pretty cute too. This little guy, this just goes to show that inspiration can be from lots of random different things. I had checked out lots of books from the library to try and get some inspirational ideas going. And this was from a stained glass craft book from like 1998 or something like that. I find books from the late 90s and early 2000s really inspirational, because a lot of my work feels very nostalgic to my own childhood, and so I like to look at books from that time to get ideas rolling. And this was how you could make like a candle stand out of stained glass. It didn't have the faces, it didn't have the little antenna, but it did have some swirls, and I just liked the overall shape of it, and I wanted to see how I could kind of transform that object into my style. And then I just wanted to point out this dog here. Where is he? Right there. because I think these two could be their own little duo. Because he's kind of skinny and tall, and he's stubby and short, and they both look like they're looking at the same thing and a bit concerned. Either my drawings seem to look a bit concerned or a little bit, they just, I don't know, shocked or happy. There's like two expressions, you know. There's shocked, surprised, concerned, happy. So, I don't know. I just think that they're cute. They're kind of like, whoop! You know, that's the sound I imagine they make. And frogs. Frogs have been so fun to me lately. Just bendy, fun little blobby characters. These next two pages I wasn't really happy with. I like the ideas, but I don't like how they came out. Again, I don't hate it. It's just, it wasn't my favorite page to look at. You can also see I have lots of swatches here on this page. I was back at my parents' house and I was going through some old art supplies, and I found my Jane Davenport palettes from probably like 5 years ago. And I still really like them. I pulled out certain colors like this red. I think this is such a beautiful red. I pulled out this kind of brick color, as well as this muddy brown, like this reddish brown up here. And I put them into my field set because I really liked having those colors. So I took out a couple of my other old colors and translated them. But I wanted to see how they all looked swatched out because I hadn't used them in so long. But we've got lots of different drawings here. I was working on cats after I decided I should learn how to draw cats since I'm learning how to draw dogs. And what I learned with the cats is that they have to have tiny heads to look the way I want. I do really quite like these two here. We had a bunch of daisies growing on the front porch, and I thought it'd be so cute to see what a daisy character would look like. And again, this is one of those drawings that I think it's cute. I like the idea, but when the pen and the paper actually interacted, I wasn't super happy with it. And robots. I forgot to mention that. I haven't drawn a lot of robots lately, but I find robots super fun to draw. I've got tons of robot drawings in here. Because I like anything that I can play around with the dimensions and the colors and little embellishments, but there's also a formula to drawing them. Like, you know I'm gonna have a head with this kind of screen type face, these big bulky chunky striped legs. So I feel like having something that already has a structure, like I know the basics of how to draw it, helps me to then get creative with it. You know, like with my girls, they all kind of have the same body, they all kind of have the same face, but I can make them look totally different based on the hats and the hair and the colors and the shoes and just everything. I can have more fun with the creative elements rather than like the constructive elements. This girl I drew her because there was another drawing underneath her, and I really just did not like it. It was one of those ones where it was really hard to look past the things I didn't like, and so I had to paint her to try and cover up what was underneath. And the one thing I do really like about her is her hair. You can see I used some of that glitter glue. It's like a pink glitter glue, but then it's got teal. And I think that's kind of a fun color combo. And then this girl here, she was based off of a reference image. I'll try and maybe put that up. I mean, these are all, I use Pinterest a lot to get my ideas started. I don't try and copy it. And so her pose was from this vintage butterfly costume photo. I'm not really sure what the purpose of the photo was, just maybe for fun or for theater, I don't know. But it was kind of a black and white and then photo, and then they had put like blue coloring on top. And so I did whatever colors I wanted, and I do like this drawing. I think this might be my favorite of the watercolored drawings on this spread. I think she might be my favorite. Usually I do color in my favorites, or the ones that I think would be most interesting to color in. But not always. Sometimes I do it based on where they're located on the page, because I like these to be their own artworks, if that makes sense. Like, it's a sketchbook, and so it's not going to be a finished artwork. Like, these are artworks kind of just for me. But you know, like, she is her own little piece of art. And then this page has its own sense of flow and its own piece of art. But then the spread has its own flow. And then once it's all done, the book becomes its own piece of art. And I really like that. And so I like to have, you know, not everything filled in or everything that's filled in clustered together really close. I like it to kind of spread out and let your eye drift across the page. That's just how I work. That's just what inspires me. Yeah, that's just how I like to use my sketchbook, I guess. I do want to point out these snails here. I think these would make a fun full-size painting. It's something I have on my list of things to paint. Let me know if you'd like to watch me paint that in one of my speed painting videos. But I saw this statue on Pinterest of these snails all stacked up, and I thought they'd be fun. One thing that I do really love to do, if you can't already tell, is to add lots of patterns and colors to everything. And so I like, especially lately, I've been super inspired by more retro, especially 50s retro futurism type patterns. So lots of stars and funky little, I don't even know, not because they're not geometric, because I definitely tend to do more round things, but kind of these like space inspired, molecule inspired types of things I've just found very fun. So heading over to my next page here, I've got just more of kind of what we've already seen. So pigs are my favorite animal, and again, I just think generally animals haven't been something I love to draw when they're not anthropomorphic. I went through a big phase of drawing dogs like that stand on two legs last year, but pigs are my favorite animal, and so I decided I need to figure out how to draw pigs in a way that I really love, because they deserve it. They're so freaking cute, and they're pink, and I think they're just the best animal ever. And so this was my first attempt, and I've got to say, I was really happy with my first attempt. It's got some little star. This is a pattern I really depend on a lot. I love just that little star kind of dot type of pattern. I don't know what you would call it. But you'll see this appears on the next page, and then I did a video of doing a full painting of a pig just like this. But more butterflies. I love drawing these butterfly fairy girls. At first I really didn't care for this girl. She's got more glitter in her hair, if you can see that. I'm not sure if it's picking up. But at first I didn't like her colors because I thought it looked weird to have her outfit be yellow, blue, and green, but then her skin tone was like pinkish purple, and then she's got brown hair. But when I've got her all finished up, I actually ended up really liking her design. She's definitely got a bit of a quirky look, but I think she's quite cute and a personality that I really love. And this girl here I did as a little swatch character design for one of my paper dolls. If you haven't seen any of my recent Instagram posts, or I even posted a video the other day about this, I have been obsessed with making paper dolls. I think it is so fun to take something like these drawings are all two-dimensional, like I obviously can't pick them up, but to make my art something I can hold in my hand and position around my house and in different scenes and things, I find to be super inspirational, super fun, super playful. So I was kind of planning out the outfit for one of my paper dolls, and usually when I'm doing outfits, it's something I would wear. Not that I have this outfit, I mean, I wish I did, especially these pants. I love these pants. But I always think it's fun to kind of create outfits I wish I had, because then I feel like I get the same enjoyment out of owning it and wearing it without having to spend any money doing it. On this page here, I was working on some different houses. I have this children's book I'm working on, which I won't get into too much because I like to keep it a secret, especially for the first little bit. And if I do try and get it traditionally published, I don't know what the rules about that are. But I was playing around with different house types, and this one here is the one I ended up liking the most. So these were just kind of experiments, trying something different. What I didn't like about this one, I'll kind of talk you through why this one ended up winning, was I didn't like how curved it was. obviously I have a very whimsical style, but sometimes things are the wrong type of whimsical. Like Candyland is whimsical, but I don't like my art to look like Candyland. And like that's just an example, and I don't know if that makes sense to anybody else but me. But it just had too much of this look that I didn't love. I didn't love the curves. I didn't think it fit with the rest of the world. This house I did actually really like, and I almost went with it, but I think this one ended up fitting the character and the story just a little better. But this one was kind of inspired by the moon, kind of with the craters where the windows are in that round shape. I think it almost looks like a shelter in the desert or something, like one of those houses, or those what are they called? Like an eco house or something. It's those houses that they're made of tires and glass bottles and recycled material. Eco tank? No, that's a printer. Oh my gosh. You know what I'm talking about? I'll try and figure it out. But it's those houses that are made of tires and bottles and recycled materials. And they're really eco-friendly because of how they're built. They don't need heating and cooling. I don't get how they work, but I think they're super cool. And that's what this reminds me of. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about, and if you can recall the name of the houses, because it's definitely not. Oh no, I thought I had it, but I didn't. I thought it was called an eco tank though, which is the name of my printer, the Epson eco tank. On this page here, lots of silly little drawings. I was working on more houses, seeing how this house that I liked the most fit in with more normal houses. She is a little tomato ballerina. I was driving down the road and there was like a produce truck going by, like one of those grocery stores trucks that they show all of the fresh fruit and vegetables on the side. And I thought it'd be really cute to do something with a tomato. I think tomatoes are just so cute. And usually when I would do something like this, I feel like I would tend to do like the tomato as a dress, like starting here, and then a tomato hat or something more like that. But I liked the idea that the tomato was the skirt, and then you have these kind of like I don't know, like what would you call that? Like not ruffles, like a peplum type of thing, I think is what I'm trying to say. And the stem is the top. And she just sort of became a ballerina. She looks a little like a clown. I get a lot of people saying that my art reminds them of JoJo's Circus, and I totally agree. And I really see it here, especially with the hair and just the funky outfit that we've got going. And we've got another butterfly girl. This is one of those ones that didn't come together until I added those sequins. And I think she looks really pretty, really magical. And the thing I liked the most were these little ribbons tied around her ankle. I wish this was a trend, and I even thought, well, maybe I should make it a trend. I don't know if it would look weird or not, the ribbons around the ankle. Like maybe it should just be a drawing thing. I don't know if it would translate in real life. But I thought it gave her something really cute and a little special. On this page, these two ideas were from references I saw on Pinterest. Art dolls are a really cool thing to look at if you're looking for some character inspiration. If you just type into Pinterest, you know, art dolls or quirky art dolls or something like that, folk art dolls. You get these dolls that have some really cool textural elements, some really fun, funky designs, and I take a lot of inspiration from those. And so that's where this star girl came from. And this pea pod was just a drawing of peas, but I like to draw my characters in just about every form I can, apparently. And so I thought these were cute, and they seem like they would give you okay advice, like not wise advice, not bad advice, but you can't really trust them. It's like, you know, it's kind of like, well, you know, I don't know that that's the most sound advice, but I'll try it. You know what I mean? And I did really like this teapot girl. I thought she would be a cute painting that I might do later this week, and if I do, I'll definitely post it and update it and let you know. And then of course, we have our little pig here. Another sparkly, happy little pig. I did this as a kind of thumbnail for my pig painting that I posted on YouTube. And I didn't really like the background colors, and so that's what I was testing out. Here was what other colors I would have liked. And I believe I just knocked off one of my little stars here. My little star glitters, that's okay. I just use Elmer's glue to glue them down. So they sometimes fall off. It doesn't bother me. If it really does bother me, I'll glue them back on. But usually it doesn't. I'm going to skip the next page because it's that secret project that I was telling you about. But that takes us just to this page that I'm working on right now. As you can see, I'm definitely have a lot of space to go, a lot of space to fill up, and that's something I want to play around with today. But I had seen on Pinterest these felt birds that somebody had made, and they had these long beaks and these potato-shaped bodies. And so I was playing around with them, seeing how I could kind of take that and translate it into my own style. One thing I do try and be really conscious of, especially with all of the inspiration I get from Pinterest, is to not see something and copy it and then tell myself and other people that it was my idea. I always like to try and disclaim when I've gotten inspiration from something, or try and change it enough where it's now mine. Of course, we're all going to be inspired by other people's works. I think that's kind of like part of being an artist. Like, you see something, you get inspired, and you remake it, but you don't copy it. You have to put your own spin on it. And because otherwise, it's like you just get really good at not having ideas. Basically, you get really good at seeing something and redrawing what somebody else has done, where it's, I think, so much more fun to put your own spin on it. And so I was calling these birds, as I was drawing them, puddle birds and pebble birds. I don't know, they look like pebbles and they look like they jump in puddles, so I thought that'd be really cute. I think these would make really nice stationery. I don't do a lot of stationery because I find it really hard to sell online, and I don't do a lot of markets right now. I did last year, but I think these would make some cute little note cards and things like that. This was just something I had seen, this photograph of this girl in her wellies and her sun outfit, and I thought was super cute, so I just wanted to redraw this outfit. It was late at night, and I felt like I had, not late at night, gosh, it was probably 8 o'clock, but I go to bed really early, and it was after dinner, and it was evening, and it was past my normal working hours, and I felt like I really hadn't done enough art that day, and I just had this itch to do a little bit more before I ended the day, and so I did this sketch just the other day. And then this dog, we'll end on him. I did a YouTube short the other day talking about him because I was drawing him and I looked at it and I was like, this looks kind of weird. Like, he looks like a frog or moldy cheese to me. And so I did a short asking other people what they saw, and I got some really funny comments about how he looked kind of like, what did somebody say? Like a dill pickle relish retriever. I thought that one was so funny. And there were some great ideas that I saw from that. I wish I could remember the other one right now. Let me look, actually. Okay, I went back and I looked, and they had said that it looked like zucchini pancakes. I was so glad I looked that up, because I think that one is so creative and so funny, like that somebody looked at this and that's the first thing they thought of. And I think they're totally right. I'd be interested to know if you see anything else in this dog. We've got frogs, zucchini pancakes, moldy cheese, and dill pickle relish retriever. And so that's the fun thing about art, is that we can all see something different, or it jogs different memories. But those are all the illustrations I have to share right now. Like I said, if you like this type of video, let me know. I'd love to do more. I'm drawing all the time. So I think it'd be fun to do this maybe, every week or every month, just to share some of my drawings and inspirations, and hopefully it can give you an insight to certain projects I'm working on, or give you some inspiration for your own artwork. Let me know what you think. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next one, and thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.